going on, everybody? It's funny story time. Just hanging out, concert. This guy comes walking up to me, sticks his hand out. He's wearing a shirt, that on it says, "Stay stoked." So I knew he's a car guy. Didn't recognize him. Didn't think I'd ever met him before. Turns out, it's my friend Ben from the social medias. Fellow car guy. Drove down from Maryland to Kentucky to see Verbolas play. Which is pretty cool. After the show, as happens when you get gearheads together, we started swapping amusing automotive anecdotes. Is that alliteration? Is it alliteration 3 in a row, or is it 4? I don't know. Probably gonna get loud. Anyway, as we're swapping these amusing automotive anecdotes, I was reminded of something that happened to me quite some time ago. I got invited to go four-wheeling with my buddy Brian in his 84 F-250, affectionately known as the dumpster. My job as passenger was, when the going got tough, to get out and lock the passenger side hub, because the front diff had been Lincoln locked. Just let the light stabilize. Here we go. It just rained like a mofo, and now the sun is coming up. Holy cow, that's bright. I don't like that. Anyway, that was my job as passenger. I don't remember in this particular instance if this was the time when everybody got packed full of mud. People had mud in their crankcases, mud in their axles. Everybody broke a bunch of stuff. It might have been. But the starter in the dumpster took a dump. So it became my job as passenger, when the truck wouldn't start, to crawl underneath and whack on the starter a couple times with a rock while Brian cranked it. Then hop in the truck and we'd take off. So all day long, laying in the mud, off and on, whacking on a starter with a rock. We made it back to camp under our own power. Immediately, everybody started wrenching on their busted junk. So we were doing things like checking out what was causing the overheating issue, because we had to park in a river, and I don't know where we found pots and pans, but we had to climb out the windows because the water was so deep, couldn't open the doors. Climbed out the windows instead of the hood, and we're pouring pots and buckets of water all over the radiator to cool the stupid thing down. So we were trying to weld the clutch on the fan. That didn't work, so we tried to drill a hole through it and ran a bolt through it, which worked. By the way, don't ever take the thermostat out of the thermostat housing on a slow-moving vehicle, because then you're just asking for trouble. We got all the critical stuff fixed. It's time for dinner. It's getting dark, so we made our dinner, hanging around the fire, trying to help other people fix stuff that was mission critical and would keep them from being on the trail the next day if it was not fixed. So the starter didn't get fixed. Next morning we get up bright and early. Everybody else is still working on mission critical stuff that would keep them off the trail. Brian wasn't too worried about the starter situation because he had a spare. So pulled the spare out. Turns out, first time in Ford history, a starter from one Ford wouldn't fit another. Not sure exactly why, but it just wouldn't fit. So we took the old starter off and decided to parking lot rebuild it. We had emery cloth, we had all our tools, and we had brake cleaner. This is important, brake cleaner. We took it apart and hosed the field windings out with quite a lot of brake cleaner. Cleaned all the gunk out of the inside. We cleaned up the commutator and the armature up with brake cleaner. Emery clothed the whole thing down and put it back together. It's a nice bright sunny morning that morning. Took a set of jumper cables. Positive went to positive on the battery. Negative went to the chassis of the truck. Negative went to the ear on the starter where the bolt normally goes through. And I stood in the gravel, also important, should have mentioned that earlier I suppose, right where we had done all the cleaning on the starter. And had my foot on it, standing on it. And Brian reached down with the positive lead and went to touch it to the positive terminal on the starter. Well, it sparked, and it startled him, and he let go of it, and it clamped down on that lead. And ordinarily, you're going to have a tough time having jumper cables stay attached to their leads. They didn't come off. The spark startled Brian. He jumped back. The spark also ignited all the brake cleaner. The force of the Bendix kicking out and the torque from the starter kick the starter out from underneath my foot. So we had a Gigundo Ford starter on fire, bouncing around in a flaming puddle of brake cleaner in the gravel. White men can't dance, but we can sure scream and jump around an awful lot. That stupid starter was bouncing all over the place, beating us about the shins and knees, trying to light us on fire. I think Brian was wearing shorts. I think he lost quite a bit of leg hair. We're out there screaming and hollering, simultaneously trying to stop the starter from bouncing around, put the fire out, and try not to let the stupid thing hit us in the shin again. Everybody in the campground's going, whoop, and laughing. Until one of us had the forethought to reach over and yank the negative terminal off the chassis of the truck. Anyway, that's funny story time. Thanks for watching. See ya. So I took it apart, hosed the fuel windings out, and immediately everybody started